Good evening, y'all. What's up? I have my girl Patrice Tisdale with me tonight, and I'm super excited. She's the chief legal strategist, and this is like a perfect collaboration or combination or whatever you want to say of
Mhm.
experts because legal and finance is like truly the top things at our business and being successful in our business. So I'm super excited. Patrice is joining me tonight, and tonight we're going to talk about legal and financial protection for growing your business. So once again, thank you, Patrice, for joining me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I was excited when you reached out and you're like, wait a minute, I watched your video and I see that we can really talk about this and this and this.
Mhm.
So like share like what's at the top of your mind as to like really the importance of having legal in place and some of the steps that business owners really should be taking when they either think about starting a business or when they actually make that decision to start their business.
Sure. So for those that don't know me, as Nashea said, Patrice Tisdale, I work with organizations and entrepreneurs that, are employee centric. So if you're at the stage where you have employees, I'm your girl. But I work with people that are not there as yet, right? Like you have vendors, you have people that you contract with, independent contractors going through the process, and they are starting up. And so we have had those questions, or unfortunately, I've also had the question where they hit the ground running, going, doing their thing, everything is fine, and then something happens, and then they reach out to me. So, to your question in terms of what are the things that I would say, for people that are looking to make that crossover or already have something in place and how to enhance what you're doing, making sure you have your foundational documents is kind of my big things. Your operating agreement, your capital investment agreement, and a loan agreement. So that's so if you are giving money to your business, do you expect to be paid back? Or is it going to be a contribution that you're giving to your business? You're contributing capital to your business. And then if you're a service provider, whatever service you're providing, make sure you have a contract that outlines it. Sending someone an invoice is not your contract.
You know,
As-
I actually had it was someone who I was working with a couple of years ago and they kind of made that comment of once they pay that money, it's almost like a contract in certain states or whatever to
Mhm.
where they've actually said like okay, I've agreed to work with you. So is that does that apply everywhere or is there different layers to no. Okay.
No. There is a lot that goes behind it. Yes, paying the money, but if you don't actually say, what am I paying this money for? Right?
Mhm.
Like you can say, yes, I'm paying you for this service, but when am I supposed to deliver that service to you? How quickly, do we get it? Can we delay, delivery of that? If there's a delay, what does that mean for the person that pays it? So there are a lot of other terms. And this is why I would say if you are a service provider, having those terms, and I've seen people do it in different ways. You have your standard terms that they have to click and acknowledge. We all do
Mhm.
that when we access these apps.
Mhm.
When Thread was a big thing, they had this long old page of stuff that you then have to scroll to the bottom and click saying you acknowledge it. But that's why like those things are their contracts. Like I joke around, is that my son is truly an attorney's child because he's on is it Discord? I think the other day sent out like new terms
Mhm.
of service. And he's like, yeah, they sent out this terms of service. And I was reading it, and it looks like what they changed is their arbitration clause. And he's going through, and I was like,
Wow.
yes. So like I was like, oh shoot, even if you're not in the chair, like you go get yourself in trouble because you can't say you don't know the terms because you read through them.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but paying the money is just the start. Like you need to understand the terms. Like if something goes wrong, like my joking around and I have my little Jamaican things I throw in there as well. But it's like when trouble take you, pick me shut with fit you, right? Like if
Mhm.
if trouble comes up, you're gonna be trying to find out how you navigate that. And so if all you like, require someone to do is pay you the money, if
Mhm.
there is an issue, there is no understanding as to how to navigate it. And if I'm coming in as an attorney with none of that there, what's that says is I get to choose where I'm going to sue you, You know, like, am I going to end up suing you in your state, especially for those that are in different states and you have,
Mhm.
clients that are in different states? Which state am I going to sue you in? Which state's law is going to be applicable, to the suit?
Mhm.
Um, do I have to talk to you about it first before I just go ahead and file a lawsuit?
Right.
What are the basis of it? Am I just gonna, I'm pulling stuff from contract law, I'm pulling, various like tort, matters or basis in there. So your contract can set out those expectations and those limitations. Like, what are you going to be looking for, and what obligation do we owe each other? So I know a lot of, especially when you're starting, that's going
Mhm.
to be the biggest thing. Money, cash is king, money is king type thing. So you want to rush to get that. But making sure that you have, at least for your basics, which is why I say, as the provider, have your contract set up, so that you can present that to the person. Your important things are protected, or what they are. And with whoever you deal with legally, when they draft your contract for you, they can explain to you what are the things you should, as they say, stand on business.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
what are the things it's okay to be like, yeah, we can change these things.
Mhm.
So that's my, the foundational things are those: your service contract, your operating agreement. That operating agreement is a contract between you and the business, right?
Mhm.
Even though it's your baby, it's your business, it is a contract between you and the business. So, the main thing, something happens, as the with the operating agreement, it will it can explicitly say the business got to indemnify you, right? It's
Mhm.
just not ever in anything. And some states' law actually say what the business cannot indemnify you for.
Mhm.
So you can't go up there and purposely defrauding people and then be like, oh, it's just limited to, the business. You can't reach past the business and get me. So that's, the main thing. Like, people don't think, some banks will allow you opening the bank account without the operating agreement. Some of them, they're going to be like, no, we want to see
Mhm.
what that looks like. But people kind of overstep or skip over the operating agreement piece, because they're like, oh, it's me doing my thing. And it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's you doing your thing, but you don't want your thing messing, with your personal finances, right?
Right.
Like, they're going to come in and it's like, okay, here's what, here's what they do. So I'm like, I always tell people, have that conversation with, your financial person. Like, I know, like with you, Nishea, it's you coach, you're coaching people in certain aspects of things. So do you have the budget to
Right.
set aside should something, go wrong? And what does that look like, right? For
Mhm.
someone, it may be, okay, I'm putting aside $1,000 and I'm good because of what I'm doing. For someone
Yeah.
else, it may be, no, we need to put aside, $30,000. Or it may be, no, you need to make sure you have money in your budget to make sure that your insurance is paid
Mhm.
up, so that should something happen, the insurance for your business can step in. But you are funding that from your personal portion. So, I'd go to you, Nisha, and ask in terms of, clients that do have their business. They may have their 9 to 5, but they have their, their business on the side. What are some of the concerns and things that you talk about with them from the financial standpoint?
Yeah. Before I get into that, like that, those are a lot of great points. The simplest things, like sometimes we overlook them and we're like, oh, it's not a big deal. And it's not a big deal until you actually need it. And then it's like, oh man, now I got to get that in place or figure out what steps I need to take. So it's really important. I'm glad you touched on the service contract and the operating agreement, because even though they may not seem important in the beginning because we're just starting out, like
Mhm,
we're going to need them at some point, and better to
mhm,
get it done now versus trying to scramble around later.
mhm,
Which that actually feeds into the money management piece, because as you mentioned, a lot of people are still working their 9 to 5, or maybe looking to leave it full time And if we are going to be the ones that are funding our business, we truly need our money in order. We need to have a budget. We need to have a plan. And we really need to be thinking, not just now, but later, because just like our personal finances, things in business are going to happen and we're going to need that money, whether we are investing in legal advice or other support from different service providers or professionals. How are we going to pay that? So that's something that we can think about. In the event that we do get sued, do we already have an attorney on retainer, or can we afford to actually acquire one when the time comes? How can we manage that? And how are we planning for that when we're doing our business, or if we're using our personal finances? Like, it's really important that we think about setting money aside for those things or getting them in place before something happens. You mentioned insurance is the same as insurance. Like, we pay for car insurance and health insurance and all these things for just in case. We should be doing the same thing for our business, whether that's legal or having money just in case someone sues us, or just in case, we don't have as many clients as we thought we were going to have. Whatever it may be, it's really important that we're being proactive in everything that we're doing, as opposed to that being in that reactive state where now you have to scramble. It's a lot of stress, and I don't know about you, but I can't function that way. Like,
the couple of times I've been in that situation, it's just like, I'm gonna take a nap. Right? Like, it will all be better once I wake up. Which we know it's not.
Right.
But this is why we're here, right? Like, if you know that you want to, or you have your business idea and you're thinking of the ways of how to get that started, definitely like talk to Nashea to put out your create a plan. I know some people don't like the word budget or however, but create a plan as to your point. If business does not go as successfully as you think, like you're doing this and you're thinking, okay, I can get 5 clients doing X per month, and then another X amount of clients doing another thing, and you start and you only got 2 people. Your pockets, depending on what you've engaged in for the business, your pockets are now going to have to cover that portion. So do you have that in your personal finance space to be able to do so?
Right. That's a great question, because a lot of people do not. And it's just so many things are unexpected, and things could be going really good. And again, if we don't take those good moments and like almost squirrel away some money to say, like, I have strong faith in myself. I know my capabilities, but I'm also going to be prepared. Or it could just be us thinking of investing in other things to grow our business, in the future. And maybe that money that we were planning to use for growing, we end up using it for something else. But either way, just kind of having that plan to be able to position ourselves to not have to stress about money, because that is like one of the worst things to have to stress about, because it's almost like the foundation to everything. Like, when the money is funny, everything is funny. Right?
Everything. And that's one of the things I like about your approach, and what I've seen with your approach. It's not looking at it as what can't I do. It is looking at it as, how do I plan for what I want to do, and coming up with that plan. And I think legal, a lot of people see legal in that sense. I only need it when there's trouble. I'm like, no. Let's talk about where you want to go, and we can create a plan for that, so that you minimize, if there's need for trouble. Because litigation versus planning, it's a whole different ball game, right? Like, I will work with clients on a flat rate basis as we're going through the planning stage. But if you come to me because there's an issue of litigation and you're not an existing client, we go talk about the hourly fee. And that's not predictable, right? It's the reality of it is not. So plan for what you want to do personally, so Nashea can get you on the proper path of making sure that you can accomplish that. so that you don't have to spend that money on litigation.
Yeah. And get with Tracy so that Patrice, so
Yep.
that she can get the plan in order. So once you decide to start, then you already are protected and you have everything that you need. Because we truly do need those contracts, whether it's the operating agreement or a service agreement or a referral agreement or in whatever we're doing in business, there should be some type of contract that outlines what each person is responsible for. So then that way everyone is on the same page. Like I don't like going into situations where I don't understand like what I'm responsible for or when I'm going to get paid or how I'm going to get paid or if you can use my intellectual property and I didn't know. Like, no, I like all of that outlined because there should be no gray area and everyone should be on the same page. And that's how you truly have a successful collaboration, a successful partnership, business to business, client to business, whatever it may be. And that way everyone can walk away from the transaction with a clear head, peace of mind, and knowing that, okay, what I paid for, this is what I'm going to get. And as the service provider, this is what we agreed that I'm going to give you in exchange for your money. So now you get rid of that, the client saying, oh, well, I didn't know I was only going to get 8 sessions. I thought I was going to get 10. Nope, it's here. You signed it.
Exactly that. Like, while everything, and that's it. People go in all excited, gung ho, and they think, oh, well, if I bring this up, it's going to create, issues. No. While everybody's still happy about it and wanting to do it, that's when you have the conversation. And I always tell people, I'm like, blame it on me, right? Like, I'm all right. I'll take it. Be like, my attorney, she's just that. That's all right. Throw me under the bus in order to have those uncomfortable conversations so that you know what you are getting into. And so if an issue comes up, and having those conversations also help avoid the issue because whomever you're working with, they're also going to see like, hold on, they're going through this. So it's more likely that you're both going to be on your P's and Q's. But, an issue comes up, as Nashia said, like, nope, it's right here. Read it. This is what you signed.
Yeah, exactly. So Tracy, tell them how they can work with you, what you got going on. Because I really would love for people to reach out to you if they don't already have their legal in place or if they have questions and they need the expert and they want to utilize your services, let them know.
By all means, you can, whatever platform you're seeing this in, you can slide into my DMs. Otherwise, you can go to meetwithpatrice.com, set up a time for a, complimentary discovery call. I don't charge for those. And we can talk about, where things are, what things are, where you are and what you may be looking for. One thing I don't believe in is wasting time. So I'm not going to tell you, oh yeah, we can do XYZ if we can, right? Like, we can have that conversation. I'll let you know, like, nope, that's not how it's gonna, it's gonna work. I'm actually doing a masterclass tomorrow night. Today's Wednesday. Yes, Thursday. Thursday night. Sorry. About whether or not the people, your team members are contractors, independent contractors, or employees.
Ooh, I like that.
We've always said, like, just because you call someone an independent contractor and y'all might agree that you're independent contractors, they may not necessarily be deemed so. It's going to be the state agency or the Department of Labor that's going to make that decision. So we want you to come out. If you are an independent contractor yourself, come with your questions. That will be, I'll put it in the chat, but I believe it's a bit.ly link it's LTL contractor or employee for the masterclass. And that is also free. Again, I know a lot of people are like, well, you offer so many free things, because I like staying in the nuanced areas. I don't think we necessarily should, overcharge for spaces that it's not as complicated. So we try to give you more information. And I'm doing that class with Carla Yukman, who is a wealth planner and does 401ks, your retirement stuff, etc. So those are two spaces that you could get with me, meetwithpatrice.com or, the class tomorrow. And I'll put the link in here.
Awesome. Y'all sign up.
Because I'm going to repost this. I'm going to repost this on my stuff. So for those that do not know how, Nashea, I guess I should have done, give your intro, I guess, outro now, and like what you do and how people can work with you.
Yeah, I definitely did not do that. So the outro is, I am Nashea Richardson, the Play Money Coach. I work with high achieving professional women as well as nonprofit and for-profit corporations to help my clients build a healthier relationship with their money so that they can truly live the best life possible and have a peace of mind around their finances. So I don't have any master classes coming up. Oh yeah, none of that stuff. But if you want to work with me one-to-one or really interested in having a coach or someone to support you in your finances, you can book a call with me at meetwithnashea.com. That came across big. I didn't mean to do that, but whatever. Or if you are an organization that's looking to bring financial wellness to your employees, feel free to direct message me and we can have a discussion about what that looks like. So yeah, all this stuff is good because we need it all. So this is more of the conversations that we should be having on a regular basis. Versus, these surface level things. And, no one talks about the deep stuff. It's more like, oh, I'm a business owner and I'm making money. Okay. But there's a lot of stuff that's happening. So thank you, Patrice, for your time and joining me in this conversation. And I look forward to more conversations in the future.
Definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.